I got to send some paperwork to court tomorrow. And if my little brother's here, I'll have my little brother drop it off because my face is very recognizable down there. And if my mom is going through town, I'll have her drop it off. If not, I'll just drop it off at the post office across the street from the courthouse, and they'll get it in a couple hours. But what I have to do is I have to basically explain that I'm going into a court of record, and I'm going to basically explain something very simple, that this court will only accept documents, papers, evidence, facts, witness lists from my fellow man, from the individuals that I am summoned to appear, that I'm making a claim. If I see any legal documents, any legal, terms of art, if I see any case law precedent, if I see any code, if I see anything filed inside of my case, I'm going to hold that legal person liable as a man, and I'm going to seek damages for trespass on my case. So see, that's basically one of the first notices I'm going to do. I already wrote 20, 30, 40 notices in my life, that I've already put in other cases in my past. So it's very easy for me just to pull up all those notices and dump them into this case and explain to the court clerk, if you try to modify my claim, if you try to move my court, if you try to, I'm going to hold you liable for trespass on the case. The word claimant, I got a notice for the word claimant. Claimant is that a man or a woman who's attempting to have their property returned or restored to them. And then I'm going to write the word plaintiff. I already got a notice of the word plaintiff. Do not define me as a plaintiff. A plaintiff is a nagging old French woman. It is somebody who's making a complaint, somebody who's argumentative, somebody who has no claim. So I'm going to put all those notices in. So when they get that ton of notices, boom, 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 they're going to be like, holy crap. Oh, yeah, I'm going to make this court so tight that don't even think about trying to alter it, amend it. Don't even try to move jurisdiction. Don't even try to move it out of my control. Don't even think I'm going to allow that to happen for a second. It ain't going to happen. It should be fun, to drop all those notices in. And they're going to be linking like, holy crap, how did this guy, write all these notices this quick? It's like, look, I had those notices around since 2005. I'm just going to cut, copy, and paste it and change the names a little bit on it. But no, this is the nonsense I've been doing for all these years. I've been doing this stuff for years now. So it's not like, oh, wow, I got to reinvent the wheel or I got to all of a sudden figure it out from scratch. Like I said, a lot of people think you're just going to put a lawsuit in and just drop the lawsuit in. It's like, okay, now how about all your notices? What? You're going to have to write a shitload of notices. Why? Because they're going to try to do this, do that, do that. They're going to try to modify your case. They're going to try to put stuff into your case. They're going to try to get the magistrate or the judge to dismiss your case. They're going to try to say, well, you failed to state a claim which relief can be granted. They're going to try to put all these legal tricks in there, this mumbo jumbo in there. You got to prevent it. You got to prevent your case from going anywhere but right before the jury or right before the judge, however you're wishing to move it. But you want an open forum and you want to get into that open court or take a settlement. But don't let anybody try to manipulate or change your claim. Don't try to make it into a complaint. Don't try to be a plaintiff. Don't try to let them do anything. Don't let them try to be a defendant. Keep them as a wrongdoer. Don't let them do a damn thing. Just make them appear in your court the way you title them. This is the way you're going to appear in my court. Don't even think for a second you're going to appear as anything else. You've done me wrong. You're a wrongdoer. Oh. And that's the... You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke a while back about this policeman who had a special job. How do you feel about writing to the chief of police, mentioning this guy, something along the lines of there is a man in your employ, commonly known as Sam, and the man has caused loss and harm to I, man, Paul Grattan. I require to restore my property forthwith or compensate, but actually send it to the chief of police down there.
Yeah, but what did this Sam guy do?
He was one of the ones who helped destroy the computers.
How do you know? You have any first-hand knowledge of that?
I've got the camera footage of when they were here before I got back to the States.
Oh, you do have the camera footage of the man who actually touched the computer?
Well, there was two of them that touched it. The one guy who is this one, and then there was one guy who is the other man we spoke of tonight who I'm writing.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm saying you actually got the video footage of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That makes it easy. You could just basically send them an open letter, like something like that. Say, what are we going to do about this? So what would you recommend that we do? You see what I'm saying? You could kind of, like, if you want to talk to somebody else other than the man that did it, you could just basically ask him what's his policy. What do they do? You know, when something like this gets brought to their attention, what would you do from this point forward?
But don't forget, this is the one guy who's outside his legal, and I use that term exact, his legal jurisdiction. You know,
okay, what I'm saying, you're talking to his boss. What I'm saying is, you know, you say to his boss, you know, you're trying to employ on him. You're trying to say to him, where do we go from here? You see what I'm saying? It's just like when you have your company. You know, somebody says, look, I saw somebody do this to my parts. You know, the parts that, you know, were shipped to you. I had a hidden camera, and, you know, when this helicopter part got here, now this is missing. And I actually got on camera that your man did this. Where do we go from here? Does it kind of make sense putting it in his lap instead of doing all this compensation nonsense? Why don't you just dump it in his lap and say, where do we go from here? And then if he says, like, we go nowhere. It's like, okay, well, thank you. You know, I just wanted to know, where do we go from here? If he says, I'm not going nowhere, you do whatever the hell you wish to do, but I'm not going anywhere. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. You try to show that you're looking at him for an answer instead of you saying, you're going to do this. This is what I demand you do. Instead of trying to say, oh, yeah, really? And who are you to boss me around? I got the gun. What are you going to do about it? Instead of saying, okay, this is the situation. Where should we go from here? You tell me. What would you like to do?
Yeah, give him an option, give him an out to make it right?
Right. See, this is what I'm saying, man. I kill him with effing kindness. I don't know why I'm such a kind motherfucker, but I am. You know, I just have. It's scary how kind I am to my fellow man. You know, but it just comes so easy for me to do this.
I don't know how you do it, Carl. You know, having spent time with you and talked to you, and I mean, whew.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's just fun, man. I think it's, like I said, it's my upbringing, it's my rearing, it's the interaction, all the different people I've met in my life, all the stories I've listened, all the books I've read, you know, all the novels, you know, like when it comes to any kind of like myth, you know, like fables, legends, myths, you know, what people have passed down for thousands and thousands of years to their children. That I've just always been enamored in that stuff. I've always been, you know, riveted and loving it, and just can't keep getting more and more of that kind of basic knowledge into me, wisdom that's been passed down for centuries. And I just love being able to pull on it, you know, and say, I know the riddle of that answer. That's what the tortoise and the hare was about. That's what the sour grapes are about. That's what the golden goose is about. You know, that's what the Midas touch means. You know, so I got all these past, you know, the like Aesop fables kind of thing, those famous, like, you know, German, Austrian folks who wrote all those, who realized that they had to put this down in writing before they lost it, before old people who knew all these old stories disappeared, and they weren't going to be able to pass it down to the next generation. And these guys, you know, were in a panic, in a scramble. You know, a couple hundred years ago, they realized the significance of the wisdom that the elder people had, and nothing was written down. So they just had to go, and they had to do it through the spoken word. So I just was able to accumulate all this wealth of knowledge through the spoken word. You know, like half of it was spoken word, and the other half was what I read. So like I said, I got fortunate that I was able to do both.